Yeah, well, let's take a look at the map band. But in the meantime, I have an interesting bit of information to share with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Playday number 7. Rise
Yep.
plays SSG. 7-1 victory for Rise Nation and Consulate. They win
Big
5
shock.
defenses. And you're like, that is their first win. And they beat SSG after SSG had finally gotten a win after getting 4 ties before that. And you're like, why do I even analyze all of it? Why do we have stats? What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Oregon is going to be our map, as you can tell. Rise did play this map a couple times, and they played it specifically against Dark Zero at the start of the season, as I mentioned in our previous matchup. But again, this is a completely different lineup. You change away 2 players to transfer season, your lineup is not going to look the same.
No, and I'm a little quizzical of the Oregon pick just on the side of SSG letting it get to that. Oregon is traditionally a much faster-paced map that's also very rigid, especially with Kaid being introduced.
Aha!
That will slow things down a little bit, I guess.
But Thatcher, this is
SSG,
NA,
though,
right?
they play much more structured maps that require a lot more like map manipulation and time wasting. They play very, they play like an onion. You have to peel back the layers. They are a very sophisticated setup. They run it repeatedly over and over again, which makes them a little predictable. But their setups in general are quite staggered, and Oregon is just not a map where you can set up like that.
I think to draw and go deeper into your analogy, if you compare them to an onion and have to peel off every layer, this map and how it plays is basically an onion ring.
Yeah.
It's
There's no creativity with it. It's the same thing over and over and over again.
Now I kind of have.
That's a weird one. That's a weird one.
Onion rings are nice.
Maybe SSG have swapped things up. Obviously, they have one roster change, although changing an anchor out for a different anchor, I don't think changes Oregon play
it's
all that
collect them all.
much. Yeah. Are they just going to let Bosco do all the work now? Just Bosco, go kill everyone.
I mean, usually it's a mix of Rampy and Bosco, please do work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing with Redeemer, and I want to touch on the subject, is that I applaud him quite a bit. He is an excellent player. Thing is, didn't really show up when it comes to attacking side.
I think that's fair. I mean,
Compared
he's playing Breach, so you can't expect him to be fragging out on Breach.
I mean, Chala's usually running that, right? And Chala still does a decent work. Chala is actually the best Goga in NA, statistically.
Chala's been a little suspect on his fragging this season. Traditionally, he does some Chala things and runs around. This first half of Season 9, and even at Invite, it's a little underperforming, or at least our typical expectations. I mean, when you have Rampy and Bosco doing a lot of the heavy lifting, there isn't as much of a need for Chala to be Chala. He can just kind of be Chala. You know, it's like a 5 out of 10. He doesn't need to be the 9 out of 10 Chala he usually is.
Actually, want to hear what you guys think about this. We have a community poll up, and we have polled you to see which one you believe. Oh, boy.
Yikes. I mean, before seeing the map, I might have agreed.
Oregon?
But now seeing the map,
I would give it like 23-10, and then, 67 on the other side. I would still give an advantage to SSG.
yeah, I think SSG, I mean, their demonstration of their game against G2 in the quarterfinals, worthy of respect. Their whole run at SI, worthy of respect.
They lost 2 games to Empire and to G2. That, if you lose, the only 2 losses you had, which obviously knocked you out of the tournament, were to the grand finalists. I think that's okay. And you pushed them both to the edge. So, wow.
Well, nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to get underway. Oregon between Spacestation Gaming and Rise Nation. One team on the heels of a, like we just said, impressive performance at the 6th Invitational 2019, and a team that looked like they were going to get auto-relegated after the first half, although different map that maybe lends in the favor of Rise. Massive roster changes on the side of Rise Nation, picking up Crazy and Acid, and one suspect roster move on the side of Space Station.
Thatcher? Are we going to say call it? Oh, yes.
I'd imagine.
Oh, Nomad is here. Let's go.
All right, so we got Nomad on Oregon?
Yes.
Oh, no.
This is going to turn into Anchor City, baby. Let's go.
I mean, maybe this is why SSG picked up all the smoke mains.
You need to ban.
You're just going to run 5 on site.
So now, Maestro, Echo, Kaid are on the chopping block. There's... Dude.
Uh-oh.
That laundry. We're gonna see history being made here. I know CLEU was there, but this is Pro League, baby. This is what we need. I'm so hyped up for this. Please. Yes!
Oh my! We
got him!
And that took a minute for Rise to kind of figure out what they wanted to do. Oh baby, both new ops allowed through. Okay, I'm here for this. I am here for this. I stand this. I am on Twitter with my banners out. I am Pepega, full Pepega right now for this.
What's that?
You don't know what Pepega is?
What's Pepega?
Oh, everybody spam it in the chat. We'll go back and watch the VOD later and I'll show it.
What?
Come on.
Dude, I go off for 2 weeks after Invitational and literally the meme, everything changes? Really?
I'll teach you the young ways. All right.
That actually happened?
I don't think it's only 2 weeks old. I think it's been around for a while longer.
I mean, 3 weeks. Technically, I was pretty much nowhere for Invitational.
No Kaid even being run, though.
What? That's
no Nomad either.
That's anticlimactic.
How have we just been foreshadowing? Are we just replicating the NA Shuffle hype to see it collapse into nothingness with Nomad and Kaid? Because I think on Oregon, Oregon is the map everyone brings up when they want to bring up the argument of how busted they are. Other maps, there's not as much of an argument. On Oregon, that's your case example of, oh, look how broken they are. I guess maybe we'll see some adaptations later.
All right. So, again, defense to the bottom floor, but what are Rise planning? They're playing on the top floor. So impact holes and such have been set up. Hyper will play by the white stairs, so you can see him moving up every now and then. But what it take from SSG, go up to the tower, clear it up. Now, this might be used as pretty good bait, and Crazy already opening up the windows. Rampy, as he mentioned to me at Invitational, will actually run G36 ACOG. Ladies and gentlemen, a non-ironic G36 ACOG being played in Pro League. What wonderful days are we living in these wonderful times now, March of 2019.
Yeah, you can't even give Necrox crap for running it a while back in Pro League. That was like the year one meme.
Yeah.
He ran it in a Pro League game on Ash. You can't even give him crap for that anymore.
There we go. He knew it all along. Didn't want to break the NDA. Rampy coming all the way down the tower as the Vigil will rotate around. Somebody's detected for just a second there, but Crazy hugging his signal disruptor as we speak. Reinforced walls are going to be pretty darn cool for him here. However, Chala running the Maverick is going to have no trouble at all. Chewing through reinforcements and the hatches, and because of the fact that COD is in play, having that Maverick, that just makes a ton of sense, right?
Oh, here comes the blowtorch once again. You see a demonstration of that slower transition time between the blowtorch and the M4, but nonetheless still does the job. He's not trying to peek through the holes, just getting rid of Crazy's Mute Jammer, and that will slowly pick away at his reinforced position inside of Meeting, and he'll have to back off even deeper. Hyper as well, making a full rotation over into Kitchen. Crazy back down to the objective, so there's one man left out on the roam for Rise, but look at this, almost 2 minutes killed on an Oregon defense with really not doing much roaming whatsoever. You stuck one guy in Meeting on stage behind a Mute Jammer, and another guy over inside a Kitchen and sometimes upstairs in Kids, but other than that, there's been no engagement, there's been no interaction. Now you got 4 on site with a lot of utility waiting for Spacestation to converge from a tower take.
So still a reinforced wall, actually half of it only reinforced, so Bosco's going to have no problems opening up the wall and allow Rampy to move in. See, there's already tiny holes that have been opened by the attacking side. Chala being the Maverick. Rampy will continue to move back in. Spotting things out with his drone. Shield in the back. Here's Brian is looking all the way down with his Havana. Flashbangs are being used to clear out any utility. And well, ADS is obviously not here, but Hyper finds a kill. He finds another one up close and personal with a Vigil. And the SMG-12 will make it happen. Brian with a refrag on a Hyper, but maybe a bit too late. Vandal will find one on Rampy as Brian is only able to get one. He's solo on HP. England will take him down as Diffuser on the floor, thinking they'd last alive with soft walls everywhere, getting shot from every single position. He'll find a call on Acid, but not enough time. Crazy with the shotgun blasts him to smithereens. And Rise Nation can pick up round number 1. It seems like this change is working out quite well.
It's a pretty slow progression there from Space Station Gaming. Like I said, given that Rise weren't applying any pressure, they were just kind of sitting there behind some Mute Jammers and that Thatcher ban, slowing things down. You know, we talked about Thatcher being a shortcut. There's other ways to get rid of things like a Mute Jammer, a Kaid, or a bandit battery, but Thatcher is just your quick one-stop shop, and without him, things will slow down a little bit. I didn't think they'd slow down that much, though, for SSG, especially with how vacant the rest of the map was. They could have taken top control inside of Attic and cut off Crazy's rotation back down the hatch. And as well, they had the hatch open inside of Attic. They could have held off Hyper's rotation through Kitchen. And it seemed like SSG were solely focused on single file pushing down those tower stairs and in through Blue. Just not a lot of adaptation to a very lackluster roam on the side of Rise, so curious roam clear. Clearly not the caliber of roam clear we're seeing from a team such as Reciprocity last game on Coastline. Maybe things will pick up later on, but for right now, that's definitely the crucial point I'd pick on if I were watching this back for SSG.
Actually quite intriguing how things run for Rise Nation now. We've rarely gotten to see them play in this way, and I think these two players now introduced on the team with Acid and Crazy definitely had their impact in that very first round. Now, all the way T3 here in the tower. I'm not sure if they spotted. I believe Crazy playing the Jaeger up there. It's not unusual to have a player playing T3 when you're trying to defend by those kids' dorms. So you just have extra firepower to use for later. Frag Grenade should get set up here by Bosco, but there we go. It's Crazy on the top. Should have an ADS to catch off anything, but this is what they're trying to play here. So much mind games. SSG's Bosco will take a decent chunk of damage. Crazy down to 50 HP as well. And we said, you know, getting reset is not really something you can do the same way as before. He'll find one kill and Rampy with a refrag on Hyper. Though, Bosco spotted and the tower being held by Crazy. I think at this point he knows he's going to be a dead man, so might as well take anybody down with him.
Interesting as well that Hyper is playing the Maestro, typically not a role you would see Hyper on, and Vandal aggressively peeking this top Armory Stairs window multiple times over to be a constant distraction and just provide more support, because Hyper was playing the tower stairs in support of Crazy. But now Crazy left abandoned alone on an island, and a self-flash there from Rampy will again stall things out as we eclipse the midway point in the round, and T3 control is still not established for Spacestation Gaming. An errant asphyxiating bolt will also not connect, as Crazy has not moved positions in nearly a minute, and yet no one can lock him down and acquire the kill.
Yeah, they can't really find him. He's literally in the same spot every single time. They can burn him out, but Crazy's going to find a kill. Easy one on Rampy. And is it going to go through? Though a lot of damage done to Crazy, but not enough to burn him away. He's still somehow alive. There's so little time left. They spray all the way down. The grenade being used finally. And he's finally down, but they have no idea. There you go. My god, that took so long. 3v3 as Chala will find the kill, but Vandal is still alive. And yeah, you use so much utility. How much is even left? Does Chala have any bolts to use at this point?
I mean, the saving grace is that you haven't lost your plant execute operators. Like, you still have Brian to breach, although, like you said, you've lost maybe asphyxiating bolts. I think Chala still has the smokes, though, and Bosco might have a couple nades kicking around. They used one to down Crazy. I don't know if he still has the second, but with 20 seconds left, it's just going to be a clown fiesta outside the big window as Chala and Brian will assimilate inside and rushing straight through some toxic gas, choking on it, vaulting straight through. Acid will cut down one, evading the fire on his windows, and Vandal the saving grace up against the windows. Brian will fall, and now last alive will be Bosco, and he walks into the waiting arms and a shank to the neck from Acid. Rise Nation playing patient, SSG stalling its 2 consecutive rounds for the team at the basement of North America.
Yeah, Mr. Tomasz Adamczyk, a.k.a. Acid, definitely making things complicated here for Spacestation Gaming. Their entries have not been effective at all. Wasted so much utility before they executed onto the tower, during their execution, and basically had nothing left to when they needed to push. And because the smoke reacted to that so efficiently from Rise, went down, used the pre-opened holes that were already set up downstairs by the kitchen, chucked up his smoker canisters by the big window, and at 20 seconds, you put one after the other, no one can jump in. Everything, all time's wasted. You just lock it down and keep on firing. Excellent play from Rise Nation, but they go to tower now, so We'll see how this works out or not. Not everybody's been successful in the tower play. You basically have to look at it as a horizontal site that is flipped on its side to become vertical. You need to take control of the bottom floor. It's deceptively simple in the way that this site is constructed.
Well, 2 in a row for Rise Nation. They pieced together on the defense on Oregon, but now the nature of Oregon is with the 3-site rotation, or the 3 objective rotation parameter, I should say, on defense, you gotta go somewhere not fun. And there you go. Someone tweeted Pepega at Milos.
Yeah, thank you very much, the Dank Lion.
I love it.
That's a perfect name.
There you go. Well, Rampy making his entry in through kitchen as Brian and Bosco will start pushing their way through the front door as it's a tower hold, a little bit of a meeting extension, but once again, Rise not really expending much energy, utility, or manpower out on anything longer than maybe an attic roam for this tower hold. And honestly, that's all you really need to do, but like I said, the nature of Oregon, it'll put you on a not favorable site in a hurry if you're winning 2 in a row. And oh wow, never mind, Acid is in the basement. And here comes some Hibana pellets onto the connector. Reinforced wall from pantry into meeting room, and drones will start perishing one by one, but that castle barricade that was really the sole defender of this entire setup will now get eviscerated immediately by Bosco and his sledgehammer, and now the pressure comes in, and Rise will peel back further back to the objective.
Continuing into drone here. The thing with tower as well is that as an attacker, once you actually clear and get parts of the map that you require, planting is very simple. So even if there's 20 seconds on the round, that's kind of okay. You still have a decent chunk of time to run around with. So it's not the end of the world if that happens. Something to definitely keep in mind. If you haven't really seen too much of tower, it is a fairly recurring thing, I guess. But more drones coming in. Bosco will scout things out and realize there's nobody on the ground floor, but just to check that there's somebody downstairs. Meeting hall has been held now by the attack. They're calling it out for Rampy to come in and destroy that evil eye, but also, we didn't know, Maverick can one-tap that evil eye and take it out. Here's being said by Brian. There's nobody contesting it. It's only a fakie. And the grenade's going to come out, thinking Nade will find the kill, just trying to plant here on the edge. Brian going in for the pre-plant. Impact grenade being played in from below, but it's not hitting. He's nowhere near him. Rampy will find the kill on England. Hyper with a run out, but Rampy's ready. That's 2 kills for him. The G36 playing things out correctly. 1 more for Rampy. He'll finally get shot down, but Chala with the refract. 3 kills. Ramper man himself. Chala. Again, that player is basically left to the end of the round. Wins it out. Well done, SSG. But it's tower, right? So how much of this Flynn, if you look at it, you blame it on Rise, you put kudos to Space Station, or you blame it on tower?
I'm putting it a little bit on tower and a little bit on Rise. I think SSG were still playing a little slower, but it felt like it had some kind of purpose behind it. Last time around, it felt like SSG were getting stuck on one particular portion of their clear and just running into a wall with it. This time, they made progressions. Through kitchen, through lobby, push the meeting hold back, make them drop downstairs. They made natural progressions through the map and kept chipping away at Rise's defense on that round. Rise, though, what were the impacts going to do from downstairs? Maybe you want to put a nitro cell. I heard the first one go out and did not connect on the first plant attempt from Brian. Just lack of visibility on the most common plant spot on that objective from Rise. So unfortunate manpower displacement there. But at the end of the day, it was an okay clear from Space Station. It's how they accelerate things from here on out. And man, they love their tower takes. And both of them were unsuccessful, and the first time they take from the front side, they get a win.
I said, it's deceptive. It's the instant you have meeting control and you kind of lock down your opponents, either stun lock them or whatever, then suddenly your planting possibilities are fairly wide. I mean, you have quite a bit that you can do. But in this case, the interesting part is that the alibi is being played, and yeah, super, okay. Alibi, utility, not so hot, whatever. But if used effectively and intelligently, it can actually pay dividends. And not everybody's able to play it correctly. Not everybody does play the operator for a very good reason. However, they've done well. And if you can use it to predict fire and force opponents into it, then it'll give you some sort of info. And it's not like the MX4 is a bad weapon, that's for sure. 900 plus RPM, do a ton of damage to any attacker that would like to get in front of said SMG.
Well, for Rise, you know, topping off the game, at least this one anyway, I said that Space Station were rather repetitive in their strategies. However, Rise running the exact same setup, the only alteration being that alibi, and yet Space Station have just chewed straight through it. About 60 seconds utilized to get to a position that it took them 2.5 minutes to the last time they attacked this objective. Much quicker pace and much better success rate, honestly, not taking any damage or losing any operators, and they've also spotted out what is left of the roam game of Rise Nation upstairs. It was Crazy who will fall back down, and Hyper causing a little bit of havoc, but SSG paying no mind as they want to push in, and they got a lot of time, and a lot of time to bait out utility. That's the big thing. For Rise last time, they had a sea of utility to drop on Space Station. This time around, a lot of time left for Space Station to burn and properly take this objective.
Yeah, they're much more focused on this attack early on and not just kind of wasted a lot of time in the meeting hall. Now, grenade into a regular position behind the shelves, nobody will answer. There's nobody in the backside there. Usually you'll see a smoke playing in it.
Ooh.
But England...
It's a botch.
Just falls back, and as you say, yeah, it's a bit of a botch. Smoke canister. Grenade to the back, only doing a bit of damage to acid, so not really doing anything on its own. Smoke being thrown into the back, but no damage either being done to Space Station. This is actually pretty fun. Oh no, he's going to try to clip it through the wall. Brian so close to getting the plant off, but there's one player down. That's Crazy. Brian will get fragged, and England and Vandal will find a kill each. The flick from Vandal is trying to spray through the soft wall. Alibi trying to rotate away, and the play from the opposite end trying to clinch up to her opponents. England will find one more kill, shotgun in hand. Hold on, one of Vandal with the refrag. Thinking nade, watching it from above, but he'll whiff every single shot, and Hyper to take him out. 5 players left alive at the end, even with a pickup on the mute, and Rise Nation pick up a 3rd round on the board with no help from Cotton. Not picked up at all.
That's a little unfortunate there for Space Station.
I mean, okay.
Planting in a 5v5, never your favorable position, especially in such a tight quarters site like that.
They got it down. Now the thing is, you mentioned that they had the advantage in utility, they had the advantage in time.
Yeah.
And they actually were able to get the plant down. They actually downed also one of the players. How did it slip away though?
They didn't take the time to bait the utility, though. They're just trying to force out a plant with about 30 seconds left. You still had time to make sure that you're expending all of the possible resources there for Rise, and it seems like it's a fine line to walk right now for Space Station. Either they're taking way too long on their clear, and their execute has to come out with 10 seconds left, or they blaze through the roam clear. They get to the objective with 1.5 minutes left, but then again, you're just trying to plant through a smoke grenade. As soon as you feel that come out, you know you have time remaining. Back off that. You know, make sure you're playing for those aggressive peaks coming out for Rise. Get your first couple picks even, because I mean, you lost 2 attackers. Brian to the smoke grenade just trying to complete the plant, and the second one to England who pushed hallway on the plant coverage. Take some time off. I mean, you had some remaining time there for Space Station. For Rise, I mean, good recovery of a situation that looked extremely dire.
Yeah.
They had everything but sight control with 90 seconds left. That looked like it was going to be an insurmountable task for Rise, and SSG, I guess, a little bit of a misplay there.
Yeah, I think the takeaway from this is, you know, SSG, you know, like, relax, take a break, have a snack, don't worry about it. Hold an angle for a bit, try to bait out utility. You don't always have to just go in and plant. I mean, the smart thing for Rise Nation is that they peel off of the site and use all of their throwables so efficiently. And it's all directed by the fact that they're bringing the pulse as well. It's all playing so well to their advantage. It's actually mesmerizing to see, because this is not a Rise Nation we really, you know. Please no. Oh, here we go. He'll find the first kill. Bosco with one. Acid to go down. Great start here for Space Station Gaming, but they spot one player trying to move up and maneuver very close to Crazy and the team. There's so many rotation holes that have been set up by Rise Nation, they'll have to worry about it. And there's 3 players rappelling up. The site is completely clear, but Crazy's from downstairs. Bosco and Space Station botched this out. This can get real ugly real fast.
We've got Hyper laying in wait at the base of tower, looking to peek out these windows as soon as he's given the opportunity. Brian is still topside. England losing a lot of damage, though. One Nitro Cell. That's, I guess, pre-prepped. No, he'll pull it back as he tried to put it right through the grates, and he'll finally do so. It'll detonate and land exactly on no one. Another frag grenade coming out from Bosco towards top white. It won't connect either, so a lot of utility being wasted, but at least it's killing a little bit of time if you're Rise Nation already down a man and down a Nitro Cell. Just waiting on the peek from Hyper to pick off these clay pigeons awaiting on the windows. Currently, it's just Bosco out on the rappel, and SSG have altered their positions to opposite angles, and Brian's still waiting for Hyper to come and take that flank towards the windows. SSG in a good spot here, but stalling out on these windows. And as I say that, Charlotte will start initiating a plant inside of big window, right up against the bunks. No one contesting. SSG with 2, and all of a sudden it's an impossible task for Rise Nation to battle out of. Crazy in England, left alone. Lots of shots, not going to connect. A single one out to the big window, evading the cover of Bosco, is thinking nay, but downstairs. Crazy will perish, as will England. It's a full sweep up for SSG, and a tower's windows take that honestly just came down to the coverage from big tower and outside a dining door.
Well done there on the take. Space Station looking for an extra round to put it 3-3. 3-3 at the half is Oregon is pretty good. That's what you'd expect. It's one of the more balanced maps in the pool. Now, it's, you know, Oregon might not be the most groundbreaking and meta-shifting map that we have in the pool.
Hell no.
However, it is one of the more balanced ones, which allows us to see and expect sort of, you know, situations like this where potential 3-3. Now, the Maestro actually sets up. There's 2 ways of doing this. Now, if you look at the camera that has been set up in the hallway, if we can go to that, yeah, you see it here. So, what some teams will do, and EG does this at least every now and then when they play Oregon, they'll impact this this armoire and then set up the Maestro camera in there because the black outline that it has behind it kind of covers the evil eye. Or if you put a bulletproof camera as well, it makes it pretty difficult to spot unless there's the kind of red thing that shows up, the red LED in it. So a few things here and there that you have to look for, but it's not like we've seen pushes to come in from the main hallway. So that's also something to keep in mind. They have the second one to hold on to the big window on the bomb itself. So when it comes to information game, quite a bit that Rise Nation can actually ferry back, but if Space Station execute correctly and take control of tower first, then there's not much that's going to stop them, I guess.
Well, I said at the end last time around, it was the coverage for dining door and big tower stairs that was really the reason the Space Station were able to pull that off, because you saw over and over and over again. Crazy would make his way through meeting, or Acid downstairs and make his way over towards the dining room door, but they'd run their heads into a brick wall, constantly running into those flank covers, and now they've elected to go for their T3 control once again. Although Crazy taking a lot of damage initially, down to 50 HP, a little bit under, and his flank cover here of Hyper down below on the Maestro once again has not perished as quickly as last time, but there goes Crazy, and there goes your T3 control, and Hyper will have to back out of dodge as fast as possible to preserve his life.
Yeah, smart play here, you know, realizing, hey, it's the Maestro. It's a very important operator. We can't really use him or lose him early on. There's a good clear here from Space Station. They take down one player, Jaeger. Crazy's been doing a decent chunk of work. Then all the ADSs that come with it. So overall, a great start. It's at the halfway mark in the round. SSG kind of focused on it, but they needed to do it. It's an expense that is worth going through just because how much easier your assault on the site becomes later on. Not having picked up the Maestro, though, that might come back to bite SSG, though.
I like the adaptation from Rise, simply because even though they didn't pick up a pick out of it, they might get one here with Acid playing incredibly aggressive onto these windows, playing in the middle of the split, and a frag grenade will come in, but it destroys an ADS. All right.
That was already burned, actually.
Okay. Flashbangs come raining in as well. We'll blind Acid momentarily, and I'm waiting for Charla to bring out the asphyxiating bolts to lock him in the corner. It's the most typical play here after he's been droned out multiple times over, but he'll allow to be given a kill as Bosco will fall. A shot to the head will level things at a 4v4, and finally, asphyxiating bolt comes out, but it's not connecting onto Acid as he hits the deck in between the windows. His feet won't be exposed, and SSG stalling out once again.
Still alive in the corner. All the bullets are just going to whiff him because you can't kill the player that's in there. And the asphyxiating bolt did not connect. 20 rounds left. There's all the quick peek, and all of them are down. There you go. Where's their Skyros now? Brian will have to dive in. Everything's being spotted. Acid with an easy kill. No, Brian to find the kill, but it's the refrag. Hyper in England to find one, and Hyper for the last one as well. The Alda on to Brian, somehow surviving all the way down. But there you go, Rise Nation at the half stand tall, and it's a 4-2 advantage for the lowest ranked team in North America. They're fighting back, and we'll remind you again that when these two teams fought earlier on in the season, Week 7 on January 29th, Rise won 7-1 against SSG. It's pretty huge. And that was even with their own lineup.
SSG. Good start. Midway through the round, you grab your pick. You don't lose anyone progressing through tower. You force Hyper back to the objective, and then just a couple miscues on those kids' windows. You had the same lockdown, but it seems like SSG really needed that time on the attacking side to pull things together and start baiting out the utility. Their takes look so different given the time at their disposal. Either they have a lot of time and they rush things, or they don't have any time and it turns into just a mad dash to try and get a plant down amidst a sea of counteractive utility coming out from the defenders. And like you said, Rise Nation currently in the basement of North America, 7th place. They were in 8th place, but Orlis disbanded, so it bumped them up a spot.
While you were preparing for land, I was studying the blade. That's Rise Nation.
I mean, it's working out for them, and I mean, the only team Rise beat all season was Spacestation, and that was even more of a decisive win than our current scoreline. It was a 7-1, and we've already got a 4-2, so SSG do a little bit better against Rise, but after their performance at the 6th Invitational, and as everyone remarked from that fan vote, it really looked like SSG were going to swing back into things on full tilt, and it just has not caught fire so far on the attacking side for them on Oregon. On defense, though, they might have that same kind of success that Rise had.
Well, Nomad and Clyde both are in play, so pretty excited for that. ARX200 being played by Acid. A lot of damage, as we mentioned before. 44 mag as well in the back pocket. England playing Thermite will open up the... Oh, Electro.
Ooh, that's from downstairs.
Yeah, from down. That's a Kobe maneuvering.
It's in the same spot, unfortunately, because you can't really change up the angle when you're downstairs thrown through a hatch across the map. But hey, out of B, Bosco taking away one of the exothermic charges.
It's a Thermite charge back, yeah. So I don't know if they reinforced anything going into the bottom floor from the bunker from the stairs, but still, it delays things.
Well, it's forcing Crazy to use the torch to open up a peak hole now instead of using the first exothermic charge.
That's the power of Vertila. So, Vanna looking all the way down to the bottom of the tower stairs. Flashbangs in the back to burn out ADSs, but there's none. It's at least a flash anybody that's playing by the hallway. And the Zofia will wing through and open up an extra angle. The Maestro spraying all the way down and England through the smoke. No! Brian take it out. A huge frag for England and Space Station with all the advantage they had. Perfect drone as well, parked up in the garage, and you see the Nomad had already set up one and probably more of her charges in the back. Now setting up, asphyxiating bolt still available for the Capitao to play in later. Smokes in the back, just blocking off information. Hyper, you get one, but thinking with the double. Unfortunate England. The kill on Bosco. It's a 3v3. C4 from Rampy will connect. Thinking Canadian one more. And the ARX100 just not good enough to deal things in the back, and Rampy will find it with an extra C4. Flying out in the air, the Bandit unable to find an extra kill to make it 4 on the board. But huge play here from Space Station, even with that early loss. They play it similar to Rise Nation. They pull back, and with that, try to advance on the retake, or at least stop the diffuser from being set.
Unfortunate missed shots there, and also there was no Jaeger. Like you said, there were no ADSs downstairs. How in the living world does that deployable shield stay intact for the whole round?
Bandit and Cotton being played together.
That's a tough one.
How many people just thought, hey, well, Clyde's going to make Bandit completely irrelevant?
Not many.
Really?
I wouldn't say so.
I
Nitro Cell, 3-speed,
I think you haven't been
fully automatic gun that's not the worst in the game.
I think you haven't been floating around EU Pro League
Ah,
as
there you
much as
go.
I have,
Maybe I'm stuck in my North American ways.
which in this case is actually a pretty good thing because both operators have different things to offer on the board. If you only look at it from the narrow angle of utility and ability, or ability itself, then you kind of lose out on the greater picture, and it does come down to more than just that, right? As you said, great SFG of the MP7, great utility. You can run C4 more often than not. I mean, you have quite a bit to play that Cloud doesn't really get. Yeah, he has a great kit as well, but each one fills a bit of more of a different role. That's it, though. It's Acid and the team setting up now. Rise Nation would like to get at least a point out of all of this, but they need that 6th round on the board. So 2 more for them to go to get something out of this match that so far has seen quite a bit of action. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed by both teams for what they brought to the table.
Yeah, a bit of a slow start there for SSG and impressive patience, honestly, from Rise Nation. You know, they're known as a more aggressive team with their lineup, and especially with Hyper and Crazy filling in those fragging roles now, previously Ghost, and before that it was Vertical. They were known for getting pretty aggressive with their fragging and their roam game, but I mean, they've played remarkably tempered throughout this entire game, and I got to give them full props for that. SSG as well, that slow start seems to have gone by the wayside for now.
Later round reinforcement from the Maestro to just shut down the one hall that he had opened earlier on into, well, from the hallway with white stairs into generator room. So yeah, it's pretty odd. The usual is that you just leave it there, but hey, you just don't want to deal with it. You kind of box in the attackers in a position that's also a valid strategy. Now they're chasing around the drone, and Crazy is going to lose it, but Hyper and the squad are just locking things down, and having the Nomad is going to make retakes on this site even more difficult.
Well, Thinking Nate evading an air jab, or possibly just triggering it. England, though, will fall at the hands of Brian. The Alda taking an aggressive angle, and he'll win out on that peak. Thinking Nate inside a small tower, just toying with Vandal outside of the big window, trying to dart back and forth and pick the perfect time to strike. As Acid moves his way in downstairs, he'll run into the hot contestant from Space Station Gaming of 2 defenders position. Most closely, Chala. Oh, a great run out there from Thinking Nate, but 2 from Rise, another 2 from SSG. It's all Hyper alone with 1 with the RG-15 left in hand, and he's twisting and turning, and now at the big window is Thinking Nate. He's caught for a full rotation. One shot will connect through the bed. Pistols in hand on either side, but it's Rampy through the floor to drop Hyper, and we level it 4-4 once again. This one also feels like it might be going the distance.
I like this. There's been so many different ways of running strategies, and a lot of them are independent of the 2 DLC operators.
Yeah.
This is everybody thinking on their feet. This is why sometimes, taking this small break between the 2 halves can actually yield more than what you kind of just expect on the surface, right?
Well, I think if you're Rise, I mean, you had a 6-week vacation. Not a vacation per se, but 6 weeks to make these roster moves and then really refine what you want to do. I mean, you got a month and a half. Everyone else is out grinding current patch for SI if they're going. A team like SSG had to go to SI and focus on the current patch. If you're Rise, you got nothing to do for 6 weeks. You're grinding scrims on the new operators at the very least, and then when the new patch comes out, you're grinding that before your first play day. I mean,
if anything,
got better experience on the new ops.
If anything, you probably got to also scrim teams that were playing at Invitational because Rogue got eliminated so quickly. So we're like, yeah, might as well at least scrim a team that's preparing for Pro League, right?
Plenty of other options out there. I mean,
yeah,
not making SI.
That's the obvious one, though.
Yeah. Not going to SI. Yes, it sucks, but we only had 4 North American representatives. The other 4 got to do something for those other 6 weeks. And
Wait, 3 of them made it to playoffs.
Yep.
Before they were promptly dispatched by Europe. But
biased caster.
I have to maintain the persona.
I was going to say, don't even back off it. Just steer right into it, bud.
Exactly. Just own it, right?
100%.
Own it, girl. So, no damage done, though, to the Jaeger on the top floor. The screw you away animation.
I think it's the cargo shorts that make it.
Yeah, it's like,
funny.
whoa.
It's just waddling away. And he's looking through a Maverick hole right now on the opposite side of the softball. You can see Crazy.
Oh!
Ah, there we go. Hyper will drop him down from Harry Potter. He also had Crazy in support. Another one rotating down Hyper with 2 now. They all try to converge on Hyper, but they'll all meet 6 feet underground.
Well, you can definitely see Maestro disappointed in that face plant, but his evil eye will get taken down as well. Hyper, a close angle is being used against the meeting hall. Bosco try to come into so much time available. There's just a lot for Rise Nation to try and play with, and Rampy's actually going to drop down with 3 players left alive. Chala can't even afford to hold the bottom floor, so they can't even push against Hyper or anyone else from Rise Nation. And with Vandal finding 1 extra player, England might have the perfect opportunity to go in for the plant. And no, the reinforcements are going to block the Jaeger of the rotation, but he'll use the 1 angle that he has to run through. Bosco with a quick rotation over the side and right next to him. No! England gets a free kill as Rampy will find 1. Make that 2, but the air jab does the job, and Acid. Goodbye, Rampy, as he gets ejected off the face of the site. And that's the power of Nomad, ladies and gentlemen. Rise Nation pick up a 5th round, and that is so frustrating when you cover the rotation positions, and we saw it just now, the first air jab in Pro League.
I mean, it worked.
Take a gander.
1v3, probably not a winnable
Yes.
situation anyway. Plant was interrupted, but you still had to continue covering that from a very, very suspect position. So the air jab, not really the crucial part of that, but it was cool to see. He got yeeted to the other side of the door frame and completely exposed and couldn't bring up a gun to fight. So that's part of the animation. But we've also seen, you know, thinking they completely avoid an air jab and maneuver around it to get into small tower. We've seen teams make adaptations, so it's back and forth. I don't think it's the Doomsdayer's device, as everyone seems to be proclaiming it so far. It hasn't, even on a map like Oregon. Even on a map like Oregon. Yes, the flanks aren't coming out, but teams are adapting and defense is winning a majority of these rounds.
Huh. Well, 1 more round for Rice Nation, and that puts them at a minimum of 1 point at the end, right? So, looking at that, what do they have to change in this attack, Rob? Because when they try to execute this before, it didn't really work out too well.
Well, the first thing I want to see is a little more emphasis, at least on that deployable shield in the hallway. I mean, thinking they picks up 4 in the round last time, he's going to be your #1 target. And the second one, again, is to continue that pace. It's the same meeting hold that Rise are bringing on their defenses from SSG. If they're playing the same setup that you play, you know what the vulnerabilities are, you know what the weaknesses are. Make sure you hit them faster as soon as you establish them.
There you go. You see Crazy again using the Maverick. Now they realize it's very much Tila that. Oh no! Chala with the free kill. And look at how crazy! Oh my god, how low on HP he is! Almost a free kill and a free double for Chala, but not yet. Crazy's able to escape with his dear life. Oh man, this is in the words of Easily, it's a freebie.
I mean, that's also your only utility to get rid of that deployable shield downstairs in hallway. They still aren't bringing a Jaeger, but Hyper's gone now, and now you've got a double stack inside of a meeting, thinking Nate has come upstairs, just completely abandoning his former spot. I don't know if he's prepping a nitro cell. It sounded like he might have been, but Chala's got one as well to rip out. At the midway point, there's been no progression from Rise, taking a lot of damage and a casualty, and they haven't moved from their position in the last 45 seconds.
They literally have no idea how to do it this.
Nope.
And you kind of have to understand, like, also their positions. Like, well, what do we do now?
Can't get meeting control. At least they have the Nomad to try and stop out rotations, but that means that Acid is going to have to actively play this, because if they send 2 in, one's going to hit the air jab, the other one isn't, is going to be able to rush straight through.
those two Capital bolts that have already been used, and a perfect pop-up from Brian will find the kill. England will get taken down, and they weren't able to use the one air jab in the back. Damage done as the smoke will fire into Brian's face in the back. Drone's being taken away. Bosco will find a kill using his shotgun, and he doesn't really have many rounds left. Brian, beautiful shot on acid. Cast rotation, but the air jab will do the work. Brian yeeted into the wall. It's crazy over one. Refract from Chala. And here, Space Station with a... Okay. Quick dispatch of their opponents. Air jab be damned.
Just unbelievable back and forth play again on Oregon. We saw it on Coastline. No one really taking the serious lead. We saw a 2-round advantage. Oh my, that's actually remarkable tonight. But now we bring it right back to another 5-5, and it's good to see Space Station at least putting up a better fight against Rise in comparison to their last game of the first split of Season 9. Rise as well playing better with their new pickups in comparison to the past. Not as well as they played against SSG the first time around, obviously. Not a 7-1 by any means. But hey, they look like they're holding their own against the team that put on a wonderful showing at SI. And we're either going to get another tie or we're going to get a 7-5. But we're going the distance once again.
Yeah, well, both teams are kind of looking for that extra round, right?
Yeah.
You put yourself on 6, you're like, whew, okay, we
you got one.
At least one round. Now, SSG, if they do tie, it'll be their 5th tie of the season. There are... I actually have the stats for this.
Yeah.
So, let me... For a second. Oh, there you go. You didn't have to.
Okay.
Season 8, right? EU had 15 ties. NA had 13. LATAM had 12.
Okay.
24 in total for 8 with 4 different regions. Only 1 in Korea. Now, North America, on its own this season, has had quite a few. If Space Station tie again, that's their 5th tie, and on their own, we're able to allot for almost half as many ties as were present in the entire season last season. It's pretty heartbreaking.
I mean, at the same time, you're still getting points, right? It's not the perfect situation. You're not getting all 3, but at least you're not walking away. Because the difference between a 7-5 loss and a 6-6 tie, it's the same number of rounds played. At least you get a point out of it.
Yeah, but your chances to go to land?
Very low. Very, very low.
Well, at least here the setup from Rise allowed them to open things up to enter the site. Again, the Thatcher is banned, so it makes Clyde and Bandit plus Mute pretty darn strong, but when you run the Bandit-Mute combo, Clyde's kind of the extra operator that you don't really need in that situation. In this spot, you kind of just get 2 C4s and not really required on this site compared to Laundry, for example.
Once again at the midway point of a round, and we're still 5v5. Rise taking their time, but they have a generator wall opened up, and this is, I believe, the first master take we have seen all day. A Toxic Babe will come out, and Brian's taking a lot of damage at top white, and a smoke will cover the purview of Hyper, and Chala will take the first kill onto England. Another one for Bosco, rushing straight to the rotate will be Vandal, establishing kids control, but Chala, another one to the grave with the SMG-11 at the bottom of white, now taking a lot of damage as Brian will finally perish at the hands of that para 308. So it's crazy the Ash alone in the middle of sight with the Diffuser, and Thinking Nade's detected outside, but Vandal now left alone, recovers the Diffuser, heads to top white, awaits the jump in, will dispatch a Thinking Nade. He's got another one downstairs, and Chala and Rampy on 5 HP. Interesting situation, but planting right in the purview of an Evil Eye now being spotted out, and he'll have to play hot potato as he tries to dodge all the pings and all the shots through the floor. There's a lot of time remaining, though, for Vandal to utilize, and 2 asphyxiating bolts remaining. He's going to try and plant at the base of top white stairs with 30 seconds remaining. They hear it, and he's going to pull off once again. The Nitro Cell prepped, but not detonated or even launched by Chala. And again, walking right in front of that Evil Eye, here comes the Nitro Cell. An easy wrap-up for Space Station Gaming. And Vandal, all that sight, no way to get rid of those Evil Eyes. Just stuck between a rock and a hard place there.
Great play from Space Station. Again, having the Evil Eyes in perfect positions. You saw there was another one in Kids Dorms. If you were able to spot it, it's all the way in the back of the room. 6-5, Space Station look to get an extra point, but they go to rear stage and Watchtower.
Yeah, this kind of feels like it's going to another tie.
Because they won Laundry.
Yep.
And then they won kids, and now they have the option. Do you go for kitchen? Do you go for tower? They go for tower.
At this point, I think it's 50-50 so far on the day for tower defenses.
Statistically.
Oh, no. I think it's like 1 for 3, actually.
Yeah, well.
It's either 0 for 2 or 1 for 3. I can't remember math.
Got to write it down.
It's a good point. Rookie mistake.
Don't worry.
It's
It's his
6'5".
first day on the job. That's fine.
Hey, I mean, my trend from SI is continuing over. We're going the distance on everything, bud. Everything, baby. Let's go.
That's actually very true. Oh, man. Every single game. Actually, at least you got to cast aces.
Yep.
Actual, like, ace, fives.
Yeah, Parker can suck it. Parker can suck it. No aces for you, bud. All mine. Aces are mine. Thank you. Smile.
All right. Fair enough.
Love you, Parky.
Fair enough.
Well, it comes down to this. Space Station and Rise. Will Space Station Gaming acquire a 5th tie on the docket? Will Rise grab a point? They've surrendered the possibility to have 3, but they can they grab 1 to try and claw their way out of the basement of North America? Or Space Station Gaming salvage a game that seems to be trending towards another result they would not like on the docket? Crazy's going to open things up onto the blue wall with the blowtorch of Maverick, trying to establish the positioning once again of Thinking Nade, who was caught out quite early from this duo push from Crazy and Hyper, but this time Crazy won't stick around for the gunfight. He'll leave it up to Hyper, as he stood his own ground quite well last time around in the basement.
Still tower not taken, and there's still a player in that T3. Pesky player in the back, and now you open up the bottom side of it. Now, you need a drone to kind of direct you. Vandal can't really just use it on his... Oh, there... Oh! No damage done even on the opposite end. Rampy thinks nothing. Now he just gets a bit done on the Capital. So close. And SSG to take the round, but Acid is just unlucky. He can't really find anything here, and Vandal's spraying through to literally the side of the Jaeger, and Rampy finds the kill. Vandal down and taken away. A huge first kill with barely any utility. Is able to be used effectively from the Capital. Not a great spot to be in here if you're Rise, and even worse, Bosco finds another. England is taken away.
Bosco tacks on. Vandal and England will both perish. It's a 5v3. A great setup and situation to be in, completely flipping on its head from the last time around for Space Station Gaming, as they were the ones to fall down 3v5 last time. Diffuser is lost on top of the roof, outside a T2 window, and you got 3 attackers, all 3 remaining, stacking outside of the door, and Hyper will grab a great pick onto Bosco, challenging from those tower stairs through that half-reinforceable wall. Now Acid will recover the Diffuser. They still have T3 control to worry about. Rampy still up in the rafters, and with 37 seconds ticking away, Rise Nation trying to claw this back. The time is against them. The utility is against them. They don't have smokes, and they don't have breach. They don't have any way to push out Rampy. They're going to try and push down the basement plant inside that cement pillar, inside the doorway, the same one that was neglected by them previously, still trying to peek these holes. There are 15 seconds left. There is no time. It's the final countdown for Rise, and they all start to fall as Thinking Nade will drop Hyper. There goes another one. Crazy will fall at the hands of Chala, pushing in the last desperate attempt for Acid, but it will be to no avail. Space Station Gaming will take it 7-5 on Oregon. A very, very back and forth close game between these two, but it'll be Space Station Gaming tying up the season series, although the round count differential still strongly in the favor of Rise.
Yeah, just in case we get to the to the position at the end of the season, it'll still be the advantage of Rise Nation. Rampy with 13 kills, Thinking Nade with 10 on the board. Though I have to say, Rise Nation did not disappoint in this game at all. They played very well up to the very last moment, and a 7-5 victory for Space Station after their 7-1 loss against Rise, literally a month and a half ago, I guess.
I was going to say 6 is a little bit more than a couple, but, you know, it's close enough. Math is hard. We already established that.
Not for me.
All right, bud. Hey, man, I mean, it looked like it was trending into more of the same there for Space Station Gaming, and they pull it out. It's not a 6-6. It's not another tie. It's a win for them. They get another W in the column. It's 3 points. And like we said, that middle, or I guess 4 remaining now for North America at the bottom, that's not a fun place to be. That's a swamp of death right now. And if you can claw 3 points out of a 12-round game to push yourself out of that monotony at the bottom, it's a good day.
Yeah, and with that, it actually means that we get an interview. So
yeah, we didn't get one for the first game because it was a tie.
Yeah, so that's something. There's quite a bit to talk about. Brian's definitely been working, I guess, with the squad. He wasn't on top of the board. Obviously, you're not going to expect someone.
No.
He's coming in. He's not replacing someone that was on the top of the board.
No.
He's coming in replacing someone that was more of an anchor play, an IGL kind of person.
Yeah.
I actually need to ask this for SSG. I think we're going to get Lycan. I'm not sure if we're going to interview any of the players. Usually it's Lycan that does the interview.
Yeah.
But I really want to check if there's a change in who's IGLing, who's giving the calls, how's the information being kind of sifted through by the IGL, and how is it replayed back to the rest of the team to try and kind of pull things together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued by Oregon as a map pick.
Yeah.
As well. So if anything strikes you as well, that's definitely something that we can ask. No.
Have at it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to our interview. There we go. Mr. Justin Woods. How are you, Lycan? Good evening.
Hey, how's it going, man?
We're pretty good. After seeing you guys in your performance at Sixth Invitational, I think a lot of people were jumping on board of the rocket ship, right, to blast off. And you came in, you lost 7-1 to Rise Nation at the end of the season. You had four ties. You had the one victory where you got the interview finally, where you said, okay, we're back, we're bringing it in, and then that happened. But going through Invite, first of all, how has that reinvigorated the team, especially with the fact that Redeemer is no longer on and Brian has replaced him?
Yeah, I think our boot camp at SI that we were able, before SI, really kind of gave us a chance to talk face to face and work out all of our issues, and we talked one-on-one about which everyone thought each person's problem was, and it really helped kind of bring us together. And then you kind of saw what happened at SI.
Yeah, and it is something that is difficult to really grasp if you're not someone that has the competitive experience, right? To see the difference between playing online and having the time to spend together with your team, not only to boot camp and play together, but also just generally spending time and getting to know the people that you're playing with. It's definitely something that builds the teamwork. And for you as a coach, I imagine that's a pretty darn important thing. Now, when it comes to teamwork, Redeemer was more of the IGL player, just maneuvering the information, I guess, between the players. Has anything changed with the team with Brian coming on when it comes to these roles, the role swaps? Is there anything like that that is more distinct, or stuff that we couldn't really tell from our lens as spectators?
Yeah, I think one of the big misunderstandings is that Redeemer was our sole IGL, but it wasn't really the case. Season 8, actually, Brian was doing a lot of IGLing with Redeemer, and then when we brought Bosco on, Bosco has been doing a lot of the IGLing with Redeemer. Redeemer, being the hard breacher, can guide the push, but Bosco actually is making the yes, let's do that, or no, let's not do that kind of calls. He's the lead caller. So I think a lot of people were confused about how my system IGLing works, and so now we've brought Brian in, and Brian is mostly taking over all the IGLing with a little bit of comments coming in from Bosco. So Brian has always been known to be a really good IGL. Yes. He was helping with multiple different teams, Rogue and Orglis, and us season 8. So
yeah, he's a player that definitely brings a lot of that experience and calmness to the table, something that is very unique to him as a player, having so much pedigree behind him. But we had the introduction of Clyde and Nomad to competitive play, and we've seen both applied pretty effectively in their own rounds. Now, there was a round where we even saw Bandit and Clyde being played together, and we were kind of wondering, okay, the two operators are not mutually exclusive, which is what a lot of people, at least in Europe, were kind of thinking of. And I want to hear your take on it, your perspective, if you see them as operators that can function together in harmony for defenses like we saw in Laundry, for example.
Yeah, I think there's sometimes that they can. I mean, honestly, we just did that to them because they banned Thatcher. So now the Maverick's trying to work getting these batteries off so Hibana can open up the wall, and then all of a sudden the batteries are off, and all of a sudden now there's like there's the claw on it, and so it's just mostly to slow them down. We knew that they were actually, well, we didn't know. We had a very, very good idea that they were going to ban Thatcher because Crazy and Acid were on Brian's team, and Brian said, "I know that these guys have this idea of banning Thatcher to force ban like the Cade," and then we just we knew it was coming. We were ready for it. The only problem with it is because we didn't ban Mute, we knew that all attack rounds were going to be really hard to get. So we knew, like, as long as we got 2 or 3 rounds on attack, we'd be able to win it on defense.
Now, there were some problems clearing out tower for the team. The Capitao wasn't really able to do much in terms of work there, and it took you too long. Do you think? And however, when you actually switched to the defense, it was the opposite way because Rise now were struggling to clear out T3. Do you think that's just a thing that comes down to the fact that T3 is just active and you can play a Jaeger in there? Or is it just because both teams weren't really comfortable and really finding correct angles to deal with that?
I think it has to do with the correct, like, the whole tower take is like being in the right place at the right time, because you know that you have like certain people that are going to be punching windows from the west side, and you got guys that are trying to hold that off while you're peeking the guy in tier 3. So I mean, Crazy and Hyper are both really good players. Rampy's like amazing on tier 3. So it was just like a battle of trying to win like that tower control, and I think it was shown really well in this match how hard it can be at times.
All right. Well, with that said, Lycan, again, congratulations on the 7-5 victory. You get 3 points. Hooray, I guess.
Yay.
At this point, it breaks a bit of the curse, at least puts it back.
Yeah.
But anything you'd like to say to all the fans that are watching here before we end the interview?
Yeah, I know we've gotten a lot of talk towards whether or not we've made the right decision. Redeemer is a great player, and I will never say anything other than that. I just want you guys to trust that we made the decision for the right reason, and I hope that you guys, whether you were a fan before or whatever the case, that you really support us, and hopefully we can prove to you guys that we deserve your respect, and hopefully moving forward we can show you a good Space Station gaming roster.
Well, if anything, performance at Invitational and the overall attitude and what we saw today definitely puts us on the right track. But again, congratulations, Lycan, and I guess I hope we see you soon, right?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Right.
I hope I see you soon too. Yeah.
Good night.